Your Authentic Self
is a podcast designed to guide you towards a deeper, more rewarding life by nurturing your emotional, mental, physical and spiritual well-being. We're thrilled to take you on this journey. Welcome to today's episode. I'm Lee and I'm a therapist.
I'm Mark and I'm also a therapist and clinical supervisor, and I train counsellors and therapists. Have done for about 17 years, been involved in the therapeutic world for about 30 years. So in that time I've come to know quite a bit about mental health, well-being and about what makes people tick. And I guess that's partly why Lee and I decided to do the podcast that we've called Your Authentic Self, because we want to help you to discover who you are genuinely, who you authentically are. So in this episode we thought we'd introduce ourselves and let you know a little bit about ourselves, and we were going to do that in a conversational way and just kind of ask each other questions with the idea of helping you to understand a little bit more about who we are and why we're doing this. So Lee, why are we doing this? Why is this important to you?
Well, it's important to me because even if I just talk on a personal point of view, I know myself and having my own childhood difficulties in growing up and how I lost myself and disconnected from my own self through, as I said, from traumas, difficulties, belief systems, and how I had to evolve and process and get to know myself and get to know myself authentically and to become who I really was, not from all the pressures and difficulties that I felt. So where I've grown into this is then open to support other people to do the same, and it goes to me, always the one that sticks out to me is the young quote, it's a privilege of a lifetime to become who you truly are.
It's a nice quote.
And it took me many years.
Yeah.
So really I just like now to support other people to become their authentic selves and who they truly are, and to heal some of that stuff.
And of course you've not always been into the therapeutic work, have you? We were talking earlier about the stuff that you were doing before you became a therapist.
Yeah. I've done lots of different things in my background, from having an antiques and collectibles store to being a glass cutter. I was a trainee bricklayer once. I've done some engineering, lots of different things. And I was doing quite well on most of it, but I always thought I needed a new challenge. And so then I would either get promotions, pay rises, or change job, thinking, I've exceeded this now and go on to the next thing. But I just soon realised actually it wasn't the challenge I needed. I just wasn't doing what I wanted to do, or being who I wanted to be. Wasn't fulfilled. And actually, I just had an epiphany of a conversation with someone once, and actually I just wanted to support and help people. So the first thing I wanted to do is help children that maybe come from difficult backgrounds, different homes, maybe adopted, maybe in care, be an advocate. And that's how I started my journey really of becoming a therapist, and that's how I started up. So I just left my job and then started going on to training courses and getting qualifications. So for the last 13 years in one form or another I've been working at a domestic violence and abusive organisation, working with perpetrators, and so done that. And obviously I've also done a substance misuse diploma and worked around that, and then obviously then just further and further more qualifications and going on and become a qualified therapist.
Quite a journey.
Yeah, so obviously I've got my own practice now and private clients while still working at the domestic violent and abusive organisation. Yeah. So my main objective now is to continue my own self-development and help others along the way too.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah. Similar, I suppose, in terms of how I got into all this. My first working, introduction to the world of work, I should say, was in insurance, and kind of fell into it. I never wanted to be an insurance broker, but kind of life led me into that, and it was so unfulfilling. It was, I would actually use the term soul destroying. Going in every day and doing something that I actually hated, didn't inspire me. It was just awful, and eventually I think it actually made me ill. after doing that for 10 years. And I think almost like my whole system, my body, my emotions were just saying no more of this. I'd even go as far as to say, because it was soul destroying, my soul was saying stop it, do something different. So I was actually signed off sick for quite a while, and while I was off sick, the company I was with at the time decided to make me redundant because they realised they didn't need me because they were coping well without me. It was probably illegal actually, but that's what happened. And then I was kind of left with nothing, and thought, okay, the only thing I've got left that I can fall back on is doing stuff that I'd always wanted to do, really, which was to be a counsellor. But it's hard, isn't it? At school, there's no kind of career guidance around doing that.
No.
And certainly I had no idea how to get into it, or even if I was capable of doing it. So life kind of presented different opportunities, and training came up, and so I went off and trained as a counsellor, and the rest is history.
And here we are.
Yes, indeed. But yeah, totally relate to what you're saying there about being unfulfilled in work before getting into mental health and counselling stuff.
Yeah, well, why the podcast? I suppose it's the modern way for me. It's a modern way of people being able to speak out there and get a bigger audience. Obviously, working within the industry that we do, and because I do groups and on an individual basis. But it's on a smaller scale, So this is about, well, for me, I don't know about yourself, Mark, it's about actually being able to have a platform for a bigger audience, to be able to get some knowledge, understanding, get some, and be relatable, and to get some knowledge out there, for me. I don't know about yourself.
Yeah, I kind of think about how many clients I can see in a week, and if I see 4 people a day, that's stretching it, really. So there's always a limit to how many people I feel I can help or work with, because purely down to time restraints. So I think doing a podcast means that I can kind of help a lot more people. People are going to be listening to this on the school run or in the gym, or when they've got an hour free in the evening or whatever. So it feels like really, really a great way of helping people to kind of access information and knowledge that might usually be available to them through the one-to-one kind of therapy relationship, but this actually opens it out to a lot more people. So and I'm passionate about empowering people, helping people to become their authentic, true, genuine selves, and this seems like a really good way of being able to do that.
I also think just what's coming to me then as well, though, is that sometimes it's hard for people to speak about their authentic self and what life's really going on for them, and areas that they'd like to discuss with other people, because we'll get onto these subjects and why they shut down from that, and so having this platform actually is they can watch this and something that they're relatable about, and what they're thinking and what they're struggling with in their own space, in their own time, and actually just like-minded people that can give some of that information and conversations that are going on for them, if they might be struggling to discuss in their own world.
And I think people won't necessarily even know that they're not their authentic self.
No.
So you might see the title of this podcast and think, I already am authentic. I already am my authentic self. I don't need to listen to that one. But I'd say have a listen, wouldn't you? Because we can think we're authentic and genuinely us, but actually when we start to peel back the layers, we can actually discover there's a lot more to us than we even know about. There's always that stuff that's out of awareness, those things and characteristics, personality traits, issues, all that stuff that's hidden in the unconscious. So.
Well, definitely, and I would say most people are not actually living their authentic self without even.
So would I.
Because when you think about it, even when you think about our belief systems, most people's belief systems are not even their own. It's just belief systems that's been given from family members to friends at school to the media, etc. It's not even their own belief systems that they believe in. So it's like stripping up. Actually, what do you actually think? When actually, what you actually think, what do you actually feel about that?
Exactly. Well, I don't know if you come across this, but quite often I'll see people like on TV or just in ordinary life, and they'll say things like, "It's just who I am."
Yeah.
Often with like slightly angry air to it.
That's
and I
right,
thought, well, it probably isn't just who you are, is it?
No.
You became that way because of probably something that went on in your life. So that's kind of what we talk about with being authentic, isn't it? It's like, okay, but is that just who you are, or is that like a defence? Is that something that you developed as a way of coping with something? So this podcast hopefully will help to strip that away, won't it? And kind of say, well, maybe that's how you are, but is it who you are?
That's right, and I think what we'll get deeper as we go along is about, I'm talking about belief systems and mind stuff and etc. But actually, to be your authentic self, there's much more to us than just our minds, as you're well aware.
Absolutely, yeah.
We have a mind, heart, body, soul, emotions. And unless we are connected to all these parts, we can't truly be our authentic self.
No, exactly.
And that's what I think we want to share and get out there and have discussions around.
Yeah. So, yeah, my message in that would be to listen, even if you think you are already your authentic self, because you might be surprised at what you could uncover and what else you might discover about yourself.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you've heard a little bit about why we're doing this podcast and what's important to us. What would be really great as well is if you could click on the subscribe or the follow button. We're on YouTube and everywhere where you would normally get your podcasts. And we suggest you do that so that you don't miss an episode. You don't want to miss out on this journey that we're going to go on together as we develop these podcasts, and the journey that hopefully these podcasts will take you on as we help you to discover more of your authentic self. We appreciate you taking the time to listen to us today. If anything you have heard has resonated with you, you would like to explore more, or have found difficult, you can get in touch with us. Our details are in the show notes below, along with some other useful links.